Hi, welcome back to my channel and a new video today. I'm going to be giving you my top 10 picks for the movies that I'm most excited about, most highly anticipating this year. And looking back on 2023, I think we've had a fairly strong year overall. When I made my top 10 list, I did say I thought that they were actually a really decent list of films, ones I really enjoyed. You know, we got a few surprises out towards the end of the year as well, which really bumped it all up for me. So a good set of movies last year, but I would say if I was looking at the schedule for what we were going to be getting last year versus what we're getting this year, I'm a lot more excited for 2024. These are a lot of movies that are just really up my street, stories that interest me, directors I really like. So fingers crossed, I actually do think we're going to have a really good year in film. But please do come and join me in the comments. Let me know all of the movies that you're looking forward to this year. And do suggest some to me as well that you think I might have missed here, ones that you think I would enjoy. I'm certainly not the best at knowing what's coming out when. You know, I tend to find it quite difficult to decipher what's actually factual in terms of news and movies that are coming out and ones that are just made up internet nonsense. So please do let me know movies that we might be getting this year as well, or that are rumoured that I would be excited for. I'd really appreciate that. So anyway, let's get into my list of the most anticipated films of this year. So my number 10 pick is going to be Civil War. And this is a new Alex Garland film we're getting around April time, I believe. And the main reason I'm really interested to go and see this is I love him as a writer and director for the most part. Ex Machina is one of my favourite sci-fi films ever. I think when that came out at cinema, I literally saw it about 3 or 4 times. I was obsessed with the film. Something about it just really captivated me. He wrote 28 Days Later as well, which is probably my favourite zombie movie ever made. And there's something about just the ideas, the concepts he brings to his stories and the way he directs them. They're just really engaging and interesting to me. So whilst I do think he made a bit of a misstep with Men in 2022, I kind of saw what he was trying to do with that film, but it came across a little bit heavy-handed and just the execution of it didn't quite work for me. So he has had a bit of a misstep before, but I think this one looks really interesting. Civil War. It's about this. It's set in America, this civil war that's going down, and you're following this group of journalists going into these situations, and it looks like it's going to be a little bit of a political drama. So that's what it looks like to me anyway from the trailers we've had. So I think it looks pretty interesting, and as I say, Alex Garland is a writer and director that I'm always a little bit curious to see what he's going to do next. So that's my number 10 pick. My number 9 pick is going to be Deadpool 3, and I quite enjoy the first 2 Deadpool films. I think they're a lot of fun. They are quite hilarious as well. I certainly enjoy them, and having them mixed with this character of Logan in the story, I think could be interesting. I thought that the film Logan was absolutely incredible. It's one of my favourite superhero films, and I'm quite interested to see what they do with these 2 characters. I think they're going to play great off each other. You know, Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds, 2 great actors, and I'm interested to see their interactions together. I just hope they get the balance right between still having that comedy edge, but also taking itself maybe a little bit more seriously than the previous Deadpool films are, as I don't really want it to take away from that character of Logan. But don't get me wrong, I'm very interested to see the mix. We could have something quite special with it. My only other concern is that, of course, it's going to become an MCU film. It's an MCU release. And I only actually realised this recently. I'm not fully up to date with Marvel. I'm quite far along now, but I've still got a handful of movies to go, and I'm up to the point where they've started to delve into all this multiverse stuff. So I'm assuming that's how they're explaining the fact that all these characters are existing together in the same world. My only concern with that is, given how Marvel's quite family friendly, you know, and obviously that's the complete opposite of Deadpool. So I really am hoping they're not going to water it down and take away that edge that Deadpool has. So whether that's going to fit with the Marvel films we've had previously, I'm not entirely sure, but I'll remain optimistic. I'm certainly interested to see what they're going to do with it, and I do think it has the potential to be something pretty good. My number 8 pick is Furiosa, the new Mad Max film. I'm definitely going to do a review series leading up to the release of this one. I haven't seen the first two in years now. My dad showed them to me when I was a lot younger because he loves those films, and I remembered really enjoying them, but I remember finding them quite strange as well. So I'm kind of interested to see how my opinion will have changed revisiting them now. So I'm definitely going to do some reviews for them. I did have a lot of fun with Fury Road as well, and Furiosa there was my favourite character in that story. I thought Charlize Theron did an amazing job bringing that character to life, and the fact we're kind of focusing on that character in this new story I think is a great idea. Of course, you've got the recasting choice of having Anya Taylor-Joy play Furiosa this time, and you know, she's another amazing actress. I think she's a great pick. I think the trailers are looking really strong, and of course having George Miller back once again to direct these, a franchise he's been directing now over the course of 40, 45 years now, which is insane. So I think if you enjoyed Fury Road, you know what you're going to be getting. I think this is going to be just as good and if not better. So pretty excited for this one. So my number 7 pick is Fall Guy, and I just think this looks like a lot of fun. I keep seeing the trailers for this when I'm going out to see movies recently, and from what I can tell, it's Ryan Gosling playing this stuntman who's filling in for an actor who can't be part of the film, and he's being directed by Emily Blunt's character, who's his ex-girlfriend. So he's the guy that's got to go in, do all of these really dangerous stunts and make the part of this movie. And I just think it looks really funny. Ryan Gosling is one of my favourite actors. I actually recently saw The Nice Guys for the first time. I missed it back when it came out, as I hadn't really heard much about it, but it looks like he's kind of playing a similar character to what he played there, and I just had such a good time with that film, and this looks like it's going to be more of the same of that. So I'm very happy to be signed up for more. I think this is going to be a lot of fun, so quite excited to go and see this one. My number 6 choice is NOS Feratu, and this is one I was talking about where I don't believe we've actually had a concrete release date for this yet, but I think the general consensus is that it will come out at some point towards the end of this year. But this is one I am really excited about. Robert Eggers is taking on this project, and I just think he is a fantastic choice to direct NOS Feratu. His films are ones that I don't think work for everybody. The Lighthouse, The Witch, I personally loved them, but I can understand why they're not everyone's cup of tea. But I do think he just brings a very distinct style and tone, a very gothic tone to his movies, and I think he's a fantastic choice to do NOS Feratu. I did actually in the last year watch the 20s version of NOS Feratu. It was kind of like a pieced together restored version of the film, and it's a very weird and creepy story, and thinking about it, I was like, having Robert Eggers do this in the modern age, kind of bring this to life again, I think is just, it's perfect director choice, I think, for this story. So I'm endlessly curious about this film, and I'm sure a lot of people, other people are too. It's not going to be for everyone though, that's for sure. You'll have to know who you are going into this one, but it's one that I am certainly very, very interested to see later on this year, which fingers crossed we're going to get. My number 5 pick is Maxine, so the final piece of Ty West's trilogy of slasher films. I absolutely, like a lot of people, I loved X and Pearl. I think they're some of the best slasher movies we've had out in recent years. They're kind of doing a bit of that throwback thing to older horror movies, but just with clever spins on them. They're really well written, great dialogue, great acting, led by Mia Goth, who is just one of the most exciting actresses working in horror at the moment. She's really endearing, pretty terrifying, and it's just been a great pick to lead this trilogy. So I think we're going to get another cracking film with Maxine. Really excited for it. I just hope we get the release date this year in the UK as well. I know with Pearl will surprise some people, but in the UK we didn't get it out until about March of last year, which was like 6 months after the movie came out. So when I first started my channel, I wasn't really familiar with like the massive disparity in release dates between UK and US. So when everyone was talking about Pearl, I went to book my cinema ticket and it was like, oh no, sorry, this isn't coming out here till March of next year. So I'm really hoping they managed to get the distribution rights to put it out here as well. So I'll have to avoid all the excitement excitement potentially at the time when it comes out. But this is one that I'm definitely really looking forward to. I think it's going to be, this is going to go down as one of the best slasher trilogies we've had in the last 20 years, I think. My number 4 pick is going to be Quiet Place Day One. And the original Quiet Place is one of my favourite horror movies of the last 10 years. I think John Krasinski just did an absolutely fantastic job with that film. You know, casting himself with his real life wife, of course, Emily Blunt, and just building this amazing family dynamic within this apocalyptic story. Just everything about the film worked. It really gelled, and it's one that's really stuck with me. I've watched it multiple times now, and every time I watch it, I'm just like, damn, this is an amazing horror movie. I think he did a masterful job with it, and I thought they built on that really well with the sequel as well, adding Cillian Murphy into the mix, doing something a little bit different for it, but you know, I really thought it worked as well. I loved going back into this world again. I was really happy with the film we got. Not quite as good as the original, but still really solid. And so I'm not one to be a doubter about this one. I know John Krasinski is still going to be a producer here, but I do think it's a mistake to let somebody else in to direct the film. Not to be a doubter of somebody else coming in to do it, but I just worry about the film maybe losing the particular quality about it that's really making it work. So I think I'd be a little bit more excited if I saw it was still going to be John Krasinski. But I love going back into this world. The first 2 films have been brilliant. I don't want to doubt this one, and I'm very excited to see what they do with it with a new story here. My number 3 pick is Beyond the Spiderverse. So I did actually have a few comments on my top 10 movies of the year list saying, where the hell is Across the Spider-Verse? How did this not make your top 10? And I have to say, sadly, it was on my watch list and I didn't quite get a chance to see it in time before making that list. But I'm really annoyed about it now because having now seen it, it would definitely have made that list. I absolutely loved this film. I thought I actually preferred it to the first one, Into the Spider-Verse. I thought it was a little bit more engaging. You know, like a lot of people have already said about this, you know, the fantastic, very creative and unique animation that just takes you into another world. I think that the characters are all really well fleshed out, really engaging, really fun to go along with. I thought it was really quite funny as well, the Across the Spider-Verse, and I just loved the story direction here and leaving it on that cliffhanger. I just thought was really, really intriguing. I'm dying to see what they're going to do with it next. So very excited to see this film, definitely on my most anticipated list. And I promise this time around I will make sure I have seen this film before doing my 2024 best of list. My number 2 pick is going to be Alien Romulus, and fingers crossed we are actually getting this film in 2024. This is another one where I can't seem to work out from all the reports whether, like, how far along this thing actually is. Like, is it finished? Is it actually scheduled to come out this year? I'm not entirely sure. Like, we haven't had a trailer or anything like that for it yet, but I'm really hoping we're going to get it because the Alien franchise is one of my favourite franchises of all time, and Alien and Aliens are 2 of my favourite movies ever, especially in sci-fi. They're 2 of my favourites. Love those films to death. I think Prometheus was really interesting as well. I think they dropped the ball a bit with Covenant, but I was quite interested to see that prequel story. I think they did some pretty unique things there with that. And whilst a lot of the movies, you know, they are a little bit mixed, but I find them all interesting to some extent. So whatever they decide to do with Alien Romulus, I don't know if there's a concrete story that they've released yet and told us about, but I'm interested to see where it goes. I know they've got Fede Alvarez directing it, and his 2 horror movies that he's done in the last 10 years I thought were fantastic. So I think he's a good a choice as any to go forward and take this franchise into a new story, a new idea. So I'm very excited about the film. I really hope we actually do get it this year, but this is one that I'm not actually 100% sure we are getting. So we'll see what happens, but fingers crossed, I'm really looking forward to it. And my number 1 choice, of course, Dune Part 2. This would have also been my most anticipated of 2023, but of course, for whatever reasons, it got pushed back into the new year here due to delays. And June Part 1 I thought was absolutely fantastic. It was my favourite movie of that year. Was it 2021, I believe? I think it was 2021. It was my favourite movie of that year. And I just thought what Denis Villeneuve did with the story was just, taking you into this world, immersing you in this incredible story with well-written characters. It was all just really intriguing. It was a great story, incredible visuals, and wow, just an expansive world, just an amazing place to go to. And I thought they left it on a really great moment. I'm really intrigued to see the second part to this. I think the trailers look amazing. And Denis Villeneuve, one of the best directors around at the moment, especially in science fiction. Blade Runner 2049 as well. My God, that was just, what a fine movie. That was just fantastic, up there with Dune. So I think this is one that I'm confident about. Like, this is a movie that, given the first part, the trailers, the director, this is one that I almost know it. I know I'm going to walk out saying this is a contender for the best film of 2024. So I am more than excited to see what they're going to do with this film. And as far as it seems, only a couple more months to wait for this one. So easily my top pick for my most anticipated film of 2024. So that's my top 10 picks for the movies I'm most excited about coming out in 2024. Like I've said, please do come down into the comments. Let me know all of the films that you're really excited about this year. And do let me know if there are some interesting rumoured ones that may be coming out. Some surprises we may be getting as the year goes on, because all of you guys seem to be way more in the know than I am about what comes out. I inevitably always come late to these things. So really interested to hear all of your thoughts on all of this down below. Thanks so much for watching this video. Please also consider subscribing to the channel if you've been enjoying my content, and I'll see you next time.